My redirect happened in a major way on February 4th, 2014, the day that changed it all. See, I had been given multiple nudges along the way that I refused to acknowledge. I felt I needed a change in life in a major way, but I didn't know how to make such a life-altering leap. February 4th, 2014, life screams out, things must change. It was around 8:30 a.m. in the morning when I was severely injured in multiple head-on collisions stemming from a driver who was texting and driving. I saw him about to run into the back of me and my son, who was only 5 at the time. I told my son that the collision was about to happen, but I never anticipated what would happen next. The initial impact was so intense that the car hit my small SUV, shot me and my son across one lane, the median, and directly into the path of oncoming traffic. Hit after hit, I struggled to comfort my terrified son. Before the fourth and final hit, I screamed, "God save us," as I assumed we would not survive yet another impact. I knew, in fact, I would not survive. I accepted death. The ultimate acceptance. That accident left my body mangled and damaged. Luckily, most of the injuries happened to me, and I had a long road to recovery. It took many months to learn to walk again, and over 3 years before I could walk without a limp. The near-death experience changed everything in my life, the way I thought about life, the relationships I chose to nurture, and how I chose to spend my time and my career. I would love to say that things just fell into place at this point, but honestly, it was a very difficult time in my life. At the time, I was being forged into the hottest fire of my life, and I did not even know it. I woke up one morning and turned on the television and saw a show on HGTV that was renovating and flipping a house. There were home stagers that came in the home and completely transformed the space into a magnificent display of furniture and decor that appealed to the senses. I thought, wow, if I didn't have to make money, that's exactly what I would do for a living. My company, Eastern Design and Home Staging, was birthed. To distinguish my services from the many other full-service companies, I wanted to add the art of Feng Shui to appeal to the energetic connections that buyers want to feel when they're looking for a forever home. I had nothing but time on my hands while I healed. I studied, I read, I meditated, I prayed. I became a certified Feng Shui consultant and understood why it was that my mom had introduced me to this art as a child, a time of convergence. I always knew about the basics of Feng Shui as a child. My mom constantly taught me about practices from other cultures to improve something in our lives. At first, I thought everyone's parents was teaching them this stuff. Many years prior to the accident, my first divine mentor always told me that I should consider going into health and wellness, as Feng Shui was useful in those areas. One day she was cleaning out her bookcase and came across a book she thought would be useful for me to apply to our home for my son since he was born very prematurely at 25 weeks gestation. The book was Feng Shui and Health, The Anatomy of a Home by Nancy Santo Pietro. At the time, I was confused and did not know how to apply most of what the book was discussing, so I politely slid it back into my bookcase where it remained until 2014. I really don't know why it didn't make sense the first time I read it. Looking back at it, it was just divine time. When I found myself with an excessive amount of time on my hands during the healing from the car accident, I became curious about what my mentor said about health and wellness and its relationship to Feng Shui. So I grabbed the book off the shelf instantaneously and my wheels started turning. I discovered there was something to this Feng Shui that people needed to know. While my body got stronger, Western medicine could not bring me to full recovery. Western medicine's response to my injuries was to pop pills, schedule surgeries, and hang out in doctors' offices. I began an Eastern medicine approach, acupuncture, energy healers, a regimen of essential oils and flower essences. I researched and started using herbs to reduce inflammation and returned to yoga. I integrated Ayurvedic practices, and I started making real progress in healing not only my body, but my connection to my spirit that had become weakened as well. All of these things were working, really working, and I knew I had to tell the world how to use these things to heal them from the source. I remembered how my mother had taught me to never talk publicly about energy or herbs or any other type of holistic healing practices because of how other people would react to the myths and fears they had about this ancient knowledge. But I knew that someone needed to debunk the fears and the junk. Someone needed to tell the truth, explain it in simple terms, and spread more knowledge. Turns out that someone is me. It was taboo to talk about stuff like this when I was growing up in the South. People were called New Age, and everyone believed it contradicted spirituality. It was guaranteed damnation. The show Feng Shui It is the result of me choosing to live my life authentically and with purpose. I believe every person is born with a consciousness of God. I further believe that we as humans agree to be incarnated to complete a task here on Earth. We accept a life contract to follow the breadcrumbs to teach us lessons to purify our own soul's vibrations in preparation to return to the divine. The breadcrumbs I refer to are people, experiences, and major events that are divinely placed to assist us in remembering our soul's purpose, basically just to keep us on track. So I'm just getting to the Great Wall and climbing up to a top peak, and I think this is one of the most amazing experiences that everybody in the world should experience at least once in their lifetime. I guess now I'm secure enough in my beliefs that it really doesn't matter what people think about my path. All the years in college, the many jobs and career shifts have prepared me for this moment right here, right now. I believe that once we come to Earth, the birthing process clears out our immediate access to the memories of life in the spiritual dimension, what some may refer to as being in heaven. This clearing takes place so that we can remain focused on what we are sent here to do. I believe that we have redirects that steer our paths during our precious time on Earth. These redirects can often feel like a 2x4 plank slapping us in the face. That can be major illnesses, the loss of a job, legal troubles, or other seemingly devastating events. Life is a very short trip, meant to be an opportunity to grow, to share, to give it our best shot, to give it our all. I'm standing here at the Terracotta Soldiers right now, and it is absolutely just awe-inspiring. I mean, it is just amazing. It's huge. Feng Shui, it shows you how to change all that is out of balance in your life. More than just a name, the show moves beyond the art of Feng Shui and covers health and wellness alternatives for all aspects of you. Learn how you can balance your life from a variety of holistic and energy practitioners, including shamanic, quantum healing, empathic, spiritual, intuitive, Reiki, acupuncturist, Ayurvedic, and so much more. Feng Shui is teaching people how to balance or feng shui their lives in ways that are profound, meaningful, and with a spiritual focus. It's about authenticity, being the best version of yourself. It feels like freedom at its most basic form.